Hello. Tiny bit of housekeeping first, before we talk about Doctor Who. So I've never really mentioned this before. I mean, I may have mentioned it once way back when, but I actually have a Patreon. It's mostly a placeholder patron because I am there is a person that I am a patron of. And if you follow this channel long enough, you probably guess who. But due to some quite complicated reasons of their... Okay, so I'm doing some voice work for Zenith will roll, and for some reason I don't fully get her. She's having trouble with her PayPal. She hasn't gone into details, just that she's having a problem with it. I was like, that's fine. I've just been paid. I'm not in a hurry. And she's like, no, it's fine. I'll pay you work. And so basically, we tried a couple of different ways, and I said, oh, I've got a Patreon if it's not too odd. So she's like, all right. So she's now officially my patron because I'm doing work for her. But she is a patron and she's paying at quite a high level. So Zenith will rule. Thank you. I will put all her details, her YouTube and Twitter and everything in. Sorry, Zenith will rule's like, well, I think one of her, I know she used before in her. I think she's updated her channel. I like her, but I don't always follow her work. She does a lot of anime work, and I don't always watch anime videos. But she is a good person. But yeah, she said she wanted to be credited as Zenith Warrior Princess, and then obviously everything else I will put in the doobly-doos. So thanks, Zen. Appreciate it. And hopefully, yeah, the long may the voice work continue because it's fun. I don't know if I can tell you what it is. I mean, it's not really a secret, but I'll do something and I'll shout it out when it all goes live. So that's out the way. So today, excuse me. Today's episode is The Haunting of Villa Diodati. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm reading it off the computer, excuse me. And is a follow-up to the end of last week's episode where the Doctor's like, Frankenstein, shall we? So this is good. I really enjoyed this. So a couple of weeks ago, I thought Can You Hear Me was going to be a gothic horror episode because of the way it looked in the teaser. No. That wasn't. That was still very good. There's been lots of positive reviews. Some stuff I missed, like some of the... I kind of caught the fact that Ryan's friend was depressed, but I didn't realize the entire episode was about depression. But yeah, that's not changed my opinion. It's just maybe when I watch it again, I'll see it on a different level. However, this episode, this is your gothic horror. So we have a cold opening where it is Lord Byron, Mary Shelley, as she'll become to known, and Claire Claremont, and Dr. Polymore. I don't know all the names historically, but Lord Byron, Dr. Polly, Claremont, and Mary Shelley. So yeah, they're all there, and they're telling stories and telling ghost stories, and they're being sort of all wonderful and silly together. And we've got their valet Fletcher and a French housemaid who's taking care of baby William. And yes, that's all sort of happening, and it's like a dark and stormy night, which is really kind of appropriate because we've had Storm Dennis like whipping up around the last day or two, and I actually went outside in it today because I went shopping, and whoo, that was a lot of wind. So yes, it feels appropriate that it was, that's where the episode landed. So there's like knocking at the door. I was like, what's going on? This is not, it's not thing. And it turns out like they have a kind of moment when they open the door, and it's like it's the Doctor and the companions, because they're all telling each other stories. So we go past the opening sequence, and yeah, the Doctor's basically explaining to Yaz the rules, like, you don't interfere with history. We're just here to hang out with some of the greatest literary minds in history, because this is the night that they challenge each other to write the scariest, spookiest story. And it's basically the night that Frankenstein is written or is inspired. But something's not right because Percy Shelley's supposed to be there as well, and he's not. So there's like a lot of because they do welcome these strangers in, because it's a dark and stormy night. They do welcome these strangers into the house, and they like, we don't really see it, but they describe Yaz and Ryan as colonials. So obviously Yaz being, Indian looking. I think she said she is actually Pakistani, but obviously Pakistan at that time didn't exist. And obviously Ryan. Actually, I don't know Tolson Cole's origin, but I'm presuming they, presume his origin. There's a great line later on where they're saying, "I'm not sure these people are colonials," and they're looking to the doctor and saying, "No, she's something far worse, northern," which did make me laugh. So there's a lot of, I don't want to say Scooby-Dooing, but that's the kind of thing that came to my head. So at one point they're sort of having this dance and they're gossiping and they're saying about, Lord Byron's having this and like, oh, Mrs. Shelley, we call her Mrs. Shelley, but she's not actually married, and she and Percy are having this relationship. It's a big scandal and all this kind of gossipy stuff going on. And Graham was dancing with Miss Claremont, and he's like, oh, sorry, I need to get a little boy's room. So he goes off looking for some facilities and doesn't find them because of, if you know anything about the history, you'll know why, because indoor plumbing. But he does kind of see some spooky do stuff, and like he's trying to get around, and like you see him go up some stairs and there's a lightning flash, but there's like a figure, and then he's coming out from behind under the stairs. So like this, you got the stairs, you've got like a doorway here, and he goes up these stairs and he comes out the doorway here, and he's like, hang on a second. So he's kind of like doing this, and then the others start exploring the house. Polly's apparently been having trouble sleeping, so he's been sleepwalking a lot. He's kind of giving Ryan the daggers as he and Claire are playing he's playing chopsticks badly, and she explains, oh no, he's just not been sleeping well. He walks in his sleep. So lots of really, really random stuff. There's a moment where this reanimated... Oh, because he's making this whole big fuss. So basically Polly challenges Ryan to a duel, and he's like, I'm going to get my pistols. And he goes to open the door to leave, and he's like, the hell? And this skeletal hand sort of comes in, and it's quite well done, actually. And they're like, what is it? And Ryan's like, well, I think it's a hand. Yep, it's definitely a hand. And they get it off, and so Graham pulls it off, and the doctor sort of bats it away, and then Fletcher kind of gets it with his tray and just like boom on the floor. Graham doesn't find the lavies because plumbing, but at one point Fletcher shows him a chamber pot, and he's like, oh yeah, well done mate, very convenient. And he sort of dismisses it. So weirdness abounds. Byron basically, he's like, because the doctor's all like, this house is evil, something's wrong, something's off, it's not how this night was supposed to be. And she can't quite put her finger on it. And then like Byron says, oh well, you said about the house being evil, I have a skeleton. And apparently the hat I think she's looking at is from Waterloo, but he has a skeleton. He calls it like spores of war, things he's found, like the kind of his appreciation of humanity, I guess. At one point, he's proper flirty with Byron, because they even make a joke about like, come in, sit quietly, just observe, don't snog Byron. And then yes, later on makes a joke about the doctor snogging Byron, but he does flirt with her a lot, and they call her Mrs. Doctor because she's like, doctor's fine. It's like no, Mrs. Doctor, which kind of I don't think that was an allusion to Doctor Strange, but it's still funny. I guess it's just like a societal thing. It's like, You gotta give people the respect. So they realise via the other hand of the skeleton that Byron's got. At one point he reads a poetry and she starts quoting it back to him. Oh, you're familiar with my work. And then like at a different point he's like, I know what you're really here for. And it's like the second stanza or third stanza of this particular poem, which I can't remember right now because I like poetry as an art form in the sense that if someone's reading it, I will listen. But reading it for myself, I find very difficult. Some people get into it and I don't. So I haven't really read any Byron. I don't really have any poetry books. I have a poetry book which is like, it has like the famous line from any poem that you can remember. Like if you can remember the line, like tiger, tiger, burning bright, and it will give you the whole poem. So that's kind of cool. But so there probably is some Byron in there, but I haven't read it. But yeah, you want the third stanza from this particular one. Just nah. To be honest, that one goes on a bit. So she's like kind of dissing him, like thing while she's investigating what's going on. She's like, I can't work it out. It's all fuzzy. The house keeps changing. The house keeps moving. Why is the house moving? So at this point they've all split up, and half the gang end up downstairs in the cellar, thinking, oh, maybe we can get out through the coal cellar, and they find Percy, Shelley, and at a different point they go into a different room and it's like, oh, I thought this room wasn't occupied because there's like papers and writings and everything everywhere. Well, I think this comes later, but yeah. So Percy's down there and he's basically been hiding, keeping himself safe, and throughout this they keep recounting a story where he said he saw a figure like with lightning and like suspended over the lake and trying to come through or thing, and they call it like a death figure or I can't remember the exact wording there was, but like an omen of death. And at one point they all see it because they're all trying to, Graham ends up babysitting Polly whilst the others sort of go off exploring, but he falls asleep, and then he's like, there's this maid and her child, and he's like, oh god, you guys are like ninjas, and like, oh yeah, sandwiches, thank you, good food. And then Polly then sort of gets up and starts walking around, and Graham fairly quickly works out that he's probably sleepwalking. So he goes to follow him to make sure he stays safe and doesn't hurt himself, like presumably. And then he basically walks through a wall, and then ends up upstairs because Ryan, Yaz, and I think it must be Mary, because I think William's her child. They hear William crying. They try and sort of attend him because they tell me there's a real baby in this place. Oh, there's a real baby. They get stuck on the stairs. The doctor can't get out of the room she's in because they were supposed to be going to the chalet stuff for Percy, and then Graham's with Holly, so everyone's kind of split up doing things. And then she's like calling, and then who else starts like, yeah, we're stuck. And then Graham calls up the thing and says, look, Polly's kind of gone, and she's like, you had one job. I said, well, I can't follow him when he walks through a wall. He says, what? And then as she's talking to Graham through the flue system, the chimneys and that, Polly walks through the wall, but upstairs. So he's gone. Not only has he gone through, but he's also gone up, and he's got no idea still. So they realise that he's just asleep. I mean, when the doctor checks his pulse and everything, he's like, oh, okay, he's asleep. He's not doing any harm at the moment. They are keeping an eye on him. And then we're kind of getting to the spoilers, because all the way through this we are getting a pretty solid spooky period story, and watching it thinking, okay, there's gonna be something, there's gonna be a twist. The doctor alludes to the fact that this is like the year there was no summer. They blamed volcanic ash covering up the clouds. It was very, obviously good time to write spooky stories. So you're kind of wondering, okay, so how is this going to resolve itself? What is going to be the alien or the spooky do, or what's the thing? Because at one point she does actually say that ghosts don't exist, which I think is which is a position they've always had, that ghosts aren't real. So that's consistent with all of her lives. But yeah, so they're watching the silvery figure on the water, and spoiler zone. She's like, it's a traveller. They're pushing through time, and then you see flashes in the hallway behind them. So, oh, they're trying to get in here, and yeah, it's the Lone Cyberman. It is a Cyberman. I don't know who's playing him, because originally I thought it would probably Paul Casey again, because he does a lot of the monster work. And when we see his face, I mean, yeah, there's makeup, so I guess he is an alien that's been assimilated rather than a human that's been assimilated, but he is, it doesn't look like Paul Casey even under the makeup, so I'm not sure, because I've got IMDb up at the moment, but it's not giving me the full credit cast list, and I could probably find it on the BBC website, but I'm going to do that now. So, yeah, we've got a Cyberman. And it's the lone Cyberman, and the companion's like, that's the one Jack said, you can't give him the thing he wants. And I didn't catch it the first time, but basically he's going around saying, are you the Guardian? Yeah, because he gets Fletcher, are you the Guardian? And no, sir, I'm the valet. And he throws him. It's like, oh dear. He is unfortunately killed by that. We find him with his body's discovered later. He does find William and the maid, the French maid, where they're hiding, and he like picks the child up and like, don't worry, small one, you will be well, you will be, you'll be good and strong. What's your thing? He kind of does, and then like I'll say it now just so you're not worried. The baby's fine. The doctor finds him later on, and he's all right. Which I guess he has to be. But yeah, so it's really kind of weird. This is a very articulate Cyberman. He's not fully dead, because at one point he actually directly threatens the doctor and is like, "Oh, I'm more powerful than you. Need to know your thing. Like we've been upgraded. We're up. We're better." And he's like, and she's like, "Oh yeah, but all that traveling through time kind of drains you." And he like puts his arm outside and gets charged up by the lightning. She's like, oh, okay then. At one point it looks like he gets bigger, but he doesn't. It's just like the angle they choose. So she's like, okay, well maybe we're here to work together, because he works out that she is not the Guardian. And she's like, I don't know what we're looking for. I don't know what you're supposed to be looking for, And it gets kind of crazy and weird. So Percy is the Guardian. And Percy is the one that, to a certain degree, has been making the house go all fun house, like moving the rooms around to protect himself. The doctor mind melds with him and finds out what happens. And basically, one sunny summer day, he's walking, sees a lake. He sees like shiny in the lake, and being a curious creature, he picks it up. It's like, oh, pretty, and it's like a quicksilver that then merges with him, and it's Cyberilium. It's apparently it's a liquid data core, like far from the future. So as it turns out, whoever it was sent it way into the past to hopefully protect it from the Cybermen of the future, like our present, the future, wherever they're from. So basically like, hey, no, we're gonna hide this, but then Percy picked it up because curious, and it took him over. It made him somewhat invisible. He put him out of phase. So that explains a lot of the ghost stuff that's in the apparitions. Because it's him trying to sort of punch through. So in the end, he sort of puts himself in the basement cellar just to keep himself out of harm's way, really. And at one point, the Cyberman does find them in the cellar, but he manages to banish it away and push it somewhere further into the house. The Cyberman's quoting Percy, because I guess they've bonded somehow. Yeah, I mean, it basically, we get this kind of moral dilemma. I think what do they call it? The switch track dilemma, where you can either save one person, that you either kill one person or 5 people. Like, what do you do? It's like it's still a moral dilemma. Someone's still going to die, but you're the one at the switch track, doing the thing. Because that actually happens. Like, they were like, Jack said, don't give this thing what it wants because millions could die. Ryan does her as a look. Percy's one man, and the Doc points out that actually no, because without him, without his inspiration, without his writing, like your world wouldn't, as you know it, wouldn't exist because of all the people that he inspired. You wouldn't be the same person. So it's not just one man; it's you and your reality. Do you want to make that cool? And she's got this thing very impassioned actually. And she kind of to the point, it's like I've got to make these decisions, and some days I just can't win. So she manages to get the stuff out of Percy by kind of flash forwarding his mind to his death to make the civilian think he's gone, and it gets it pulled out of him. And then at one point it takes on her. But then she's like, oh no, I still can't win, I need you. He's basically like, I'll destroy you, I'll destroy as well, like, you've got a thing. Essentially, the Doctor ends up giving the lone Cyberman exactly what he wants, despite Jack's warnings. It does have a kind of a happier ending, like everyone's sort of safe and well. Byron's been flirting with the Doctor the whole time, so Miss Claremont's like, yeah, know what, forget you. It's sad that Fletcher and the nursemaid dies. There's a great scene with Mary Shelley where she realises, like, are you man, are you composite, or what are you? So I think this is one of those weird circle things where I think the original Cybermen were partly inspired by the story of Frankenstein's monster, and now in universe Frankenstein is inspired by Cybermen. So that's kind of a neat little thing. Yeah, it was good. There's some other bits and pieces. Yeah, like she has this moment where she's like talking to him and like, do you have a name? You didn't hurt my child. You saved his life, and like, oh, I saved his life because he's weak, sickly. You've got nothing. I was a father once, but I killed my family when they joined the rebellion. So yeah, there's a lot of really great moments, a lot of really good character moments, and like the Doctor's like, okay, so this is kind of my plan. Step 1, save people's lives. Step 2, fix the mess I made in step 1. She calls everyone like back into the TARDIS, like, we got to talk. You don't have to come with, and like, but yeah, it's like, but I got the coordinates. Percy gave me all this because he's writing down all his he got these symbols and everything. As the Cerulean was kind of taking him over, and he's like, we can use these, can't we? And she's like, yeah, we're not going with it. We're going with you. We're in it for the long haul. So okay, fine. So yeah, overall it's quite good. I would say it's one of those episodes that's like a story of two halves, because you've got all this setup and introducing the characters. I don't know enough about these historical people to say whether or not they were accurately or fairly portrayed. But the characters as presented, I found to be very interesting, and I didn't mind. Yeah, I was having fun spending time with them. The lone Cyberman was very well done. He was very interesting. And like I said, he didn't look like he was originally human, because he had like these like kind of like gill slits, like something else going on like in this area. Well, this side's all covered up still. But he was interesting because, like I said, he was very articulate. He was very smart. Like, he wasn't fully finished. He still had some emotion, which was just interesting. So yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. Like, is it two halves? Because you got one side, you got all this character set up, and then you've got like his chase scene with the Cybermen. Technically, yes, but no, because this is setting up this, and then okay, this is the thing that's happening. So they do link up. It does make sense, and it is set up when you talk about the figure in the water. I have a theory, and it links somewhat with the teaser trailer, which is essentially the Cyber War, or post Cyber War, so far into the future. And that's basically what we know. It's like things are bad. But I have a theory that basically, because I think Jack has regained his time travel ability. I don't think he's got his wrist strap anymore, but he is a seasoned time traveler. He can traverse the timelines. He knows how, and if he can get hold of the technology, I'm sure he'll, that makes him more than capable. I think Jack may have seen that future, or a version of that future, and backtracked and worked out more or less, as well as he could, how we got there. I honestly think if and when he and the Doctor finally meet in this incarnation, he's going to be pissed. He is not going to be happy with her, because, like, you're going to stop this! You could have stopped all this death and destruction. And she's like, well, I had to save Percy Shelley's life and all this thing, and I couldn't win. And it's going to be very interesting and very emotional. Yeah, these reviews seem to be getting shorter and shorter. I know it's because I'm, like, forgetting more about each episode. Or it's just, I don't know, maybe I want you to watch it for yourself. Like I said, the acting was all good. The period characters had quite flowery dialogue and quite verbose in the way they spoke, but not in a way that I felt was, inappropriate. They all, like I said, they were all quite charming in their own ways. None of them sort of were against the Doctor or her companions. They weren't, they weren't offensive towards Ryan and Yaz. They were just like, okay, you come in about the rain, let's have a dance, let's get to know each other, and craziness occurs. Yeah. But Percy kind of has a moment where, because he's kind of mentally flash forward to his death, he's like, wow, this is weird, and the Doctor apologizes, like, sorry, that was the only way I could do it. It's good. I enjoyed it. I don't know what else I can really say about it. I'm looking forward to the next couple of episodes. I did, when I was looking at the title for this, it does have, like, the brief synopsis for the next couple of episodes. The first of the next episode basically being what we think it is. It's like the poster, what the teaser trailer shows. And I just saw the first line of the next one. I was like, no, don't want to read that. But yeah, that looks gonna be, so these next couple of episodes are gonna be really good, or at least are promising to be really good. So yeah, no, I'm in it to win it. I'm in the long haul. We're in the home stretch, and I'm gonna be right there, watching along, enjoying it, and then telling you what I thought. So yeah, there's that's me. I guess since I already mentioned it at the top of this video, I might as well put a link to my Patreon. This will be the only time. Zenith doesn't want to be name checked every single video, so because I've already brought it up, I will put a link to my Patreon. Don't feel obliged, but you can chuck a couple of dollars, that'd be nice. But yeah, I'm gonna meander till rambly end, because I tend to do that now. Thoughts, comments, ideas, theories, happy to see. I know, I'm sorry, I keep saying that, oh yeah, I like seeing your comments, and I'll write back, but I don't know, I just been in a weird place, like, not a bad place, just like, yeah, I should do that, and I don't. I've been tired. Where I work, I sit next to one of the warmest places in the factory, so by the time I get home, I'm just tired. But yeah, I do appreciate seeing your thoughts and comments. I do like them when I see them. So yeah, feel free to say something, and I guess I'll see you next week. So thank you for watching. If you have been, you're awesome. Do some algorithm stuff if you want to. That'd be very, very cool. But otherwise, I've been Michelle, you've been listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!